Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Rolling Cup podcast. I am your host, the amazing Sniper Beef. We're back. We're back again, and we've got some familiar faces back on the podcast this evening. Introduce yourselves, Mr. Man in red. Who are you?
Hi guys, Devastate here. Welcome back to another episode. Hope everyone is having a good week. It's been a little bit less cold, although both Beefy will still continue to wear his oversized hoodie. But no, good to be back. And if I can just give everyone a quick reminder, please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and leave us a comment down below. We had a lovely one during the week. So any more of those would be greatly appreciated. Anything you want to hear, see, or anything you want. Tell us what you're doing for the rest of the week. But yes, happy to be here, and I'll throw it over to our other guest.
Welcome. It's good to be back. I took a bit of a break, busy Christmas and all that, but it's good to be back. I'm Vedic.
And welcome, I'm Mass and Ivry.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. So, without further ado, let me give you a quick overview of what we're going to run through today. So, we're going to touch on Tempest Rising, Civ 7, Genshin Impact, Xbox controllers, 5090s, and the Rolling Cup. So, let's get cracking with the first port of call. Tempest Rising, coming out 24th of April, a few months away. This game is going to get a lot of people at the link up incredibly excited. It is basically from what all four of us had a quick look at this on Steam. So if you haven't, go and check it out on Steam. You can also download the demo. We watched a couple of the videos before we jumped on the podcast, and it's literally like a 2025 version of Command and Conquer, which it's one of Mass and Evra's favorite ever games, Generals. Vedic, what's your favorite Command and Conquer ever?
That's a toughie, but I think it's probably Generals or possibly Red Alert 2.
Yeah, I'm Red Alert 2. I know which one Mass and Evra hates. Tiberian Sun.
That's given for everybody. The only one worse than that was Tiberian Twilight, and that was absolutely awful.
Tiberian Sun, to be honest, probably didn't give it, as I said before, probably didn't give it enough of a chance. I think there was Titans in there, wasn't there? So.
I quite like Tiberian Sun, to be honest. But yeah, I agree that it's very much Red Alert 2 for me. But yeah, Tempest Rising looks very, very good. The videos that I've seen there's a free demo which you can download. And it's reasonably priced, £35 for a game in 2025, which compared to the game that we're going to talk about next is an absolute bargain. Graphically, it looks very, very good as well. Gameplay looks very good. And honestly, I can't explain how much Command and Conquer the four of us played at the link ups back in the day. Silly amounts. So yeah, very excited about this one. I don't think it's going to be the most difficult sell for anyone at the link up. I think there's probably maybe one person, maybe Ace, who might not be too keen on it, but everyone else will be like, "Yep, I'm buying that." But yeah, Vedic, any thoughts?
Yeah, it just looks absolutely fantastic, and very much a sort of spiritual successor to Command and Conquer with the way you harvest resources. It's, you're harvesting some sort of material that's come from outer space and it's landed on the ground, and you're harvesting it like Tiberian. And there's there's even cutscenes in between, all your missions, which reminds me very much of Command and Conquer and maybe not Generals, but definitely Command and Conquer and Red Alert.
Yeah, as I say, because Generals and Command and Conquer, Red Alert, they are very different games, aren't they? Although they are RTS and by the same team, they do play very, very differently. Generals is a very different. It took the Command and Conquer series into a completely different place.
Realm.
Yeah.
And what also I would say is the game online multiplayer?
Yeah.
Because although you could play Generals online, that was sort of the dawn before games almost being online first. And I'd be interested to see what the online community really looks like with Tempest Rising.
Now, question is, has it got LAN capability? That's what I want to know.
You don't need it. You don't need it as long as you can have private lobbies.
It doesn't. It's online PvP or single player.
Yeah.
So I'll have presumably a single player campaign, maybe in a skirmish mode.
The LAN setting on a computer game is gone forever, I believe, for most games.
Minimum system requirements: NVIDIA GTX 1060 with 8 gigs of RAM. Max, I think you might even be able to run that game on your current PC.
Indeed, I can. I've got 8 gigs of RAM, and I've got a 1070.
You have 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, 8.
My phone has more.
It's okay. Devastate. This is the year that Mass and Evra is getting an upgrade on his PC. He's going to go all out. He's getting the monitor that I've got. He's getting the incredible OLED monitor. He's getting the 5090, and he's going to be literally. Rage is going to be very jealous of Mass and Evra's sale because he's going to have so much RGB. It's going to be coming out of his ears.
Are you actually getting a PC though, Mass?
He has to, because Command & Conquer. I mean, Grand Theft Auto's next year, and that's definitely not running on no.
Well, that's what he said. They said that if we need to upgrade, if I need to upgrade this year, then I'd have to. But Grand Theft Auto isn't out until the autumn, so if I can run everything that we ran last year and any new games this year, then I'll continue with this.
Well, Tempest Rising isn't out yet, so if we go and have a word with the devs and tell them to up the minimum system requirements to
I'll just play the
2070, then he's got to upgrade.
I can just try the demo, and then just see how it plays, can't I? So if it doesn't work very well, then.
But yes,
Almost intelligent.
But yeah, 24th of April, that looks like it's coming out. Reasonably priced, £35. Free demo to play, which is... I haven't seen a demo on a game in a long time. Like, when was the last time we saw a demo on anything?
Well, that was what I spoke about, I think, a few months ago on the podcast. Yeah. I was like, this distinct lack of demos that exist. I used to love demos.
Yeah, because it almost takes you back to... Do you remember when you used to get, like, Xbox Magazine or PC Gamer Magazine, and you get a disc with a bunch of demos on it?
Yeah.
And you go, I'm just going to play the demos on this. And you're like, oh, the demos only last me 25 minutes. Like, I want more. But
used to get it on a floppy disk initially for the PC. PC Zone, PC Gamer.
You do get a lot of demos when it's when Steam has these fests, like the RTS fest is about to start, isn't it, on the 27th? And you had Tower Defense Fest and all these different sort of little mini fests they have, and they do tend to have quite a lot of demos around that time. Apart from that, no.
But yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Demos, reasonably priced games. I mean, it's very non-2025, isn't it?
No loot boxes.
Yeah, no loot box. Which, I mean, to me, this has got all the makings of being a very, very good game and a good launch. Like, it's ticking a lot of boxes for me at the moment. And loot boxes, to Vedic's point, we'll come on to a little bit later. But yeah, Tempest Rising, I think, is going to be an absolute win for the link up this year. We're going to be playing a lot of that, I can see. Now, moving on to a game that Vedic is a little bit excited about, just a little bit excited. Civilisation 7, the 7th iteration of a terrible game, is due out on the 6th of February. Vedic has obviously bought the Founders or the Deluxe Edition? Founders. And how much was the Founders Edition, Vedic?
£119.
£119. So it's 3 times the price, nearly, of Genshin. Actually, more than 3 times the price of Genshin Impact. Not Genshin Impact. Tempest Rising, even. Genshin Impact's our next discussion. But yeah, more than 3 times the price of Tempest Rising.
Worth every penny.
Vedic has taken an extraordinary amount of time off for this.
Only 4 days.
An extraordinary amount of time off. His wife has already been grieving to me and Massaneva about she's going to lose her husband for a long period of time. So yeah, Vedic, talk to us about Civ 7. What are you most excited about, and why have you bought the edition that you bought?
Well, the reason I bought the Founders Edition is because you get the next 2 sort of expansions for free. Well,
it's not for free. You're paying a premium for it.
Yeah, but you just don't have to buy them again. So you get also an extra sort of 5 days before everyone else. So I get to play it on the 6th and not on the 11th.
Like mere mortals.
Yeah, like mere mortals, yes. But it comes with loads of little extra bits, obviously, for having that edition. But I think about it in reference to time played. If I look at my Civ library and 1,000 hours on Civ 5, 1,000 hours plus on Civ 6, it's 120 quid is nothing really. If you think
And
about
he's
the
never
value for
completed a
money.
game of it. He's never completed a game of it. But
You
like,
haven't completed a game.
no
of it.
jokes aside, I have never completed it. We've played Civ so many times at the link ups in the last 10, 15 years. And I have personally never completed a game of it at the link up. Well, we will play like an 8-hour game and then we'll come back to it the following day and we still won't complete it.
Just
and like,
to note, it does have LAN PvP as well.
Oh, and Vedic said to me before we jumped on, he said, we will complete a game because you can do it in ages and it'll only take 5 hours. I'm yet to believe that. Vedix is so excited. He's created a WhatsApp group for some of the link up folk to join. I've negated to join that group because it's just too exciting for me, I'm afraid.
A couple of us have already got the big Founders Edition, so there's 3 of us now with the Founders Edition.
Okay.
And I'm not the only one with the time off. 2 other colleagues have got time off now as well.
So are you more excited about... Were you more excited about Civ 5 to Civ 6 or Civ 6 to 6-7?
Civ 6 to 6-7. Civ 7.
So this is the biggest one yet.
Yeah, I think so. So many changes because I mean Civ 6 didn't have a massive amount of changes compared to Civ.
Yeah, but like the amount of like giving it the big one that when Civ 6 came out, I was like, we've got to get Civ 6. It's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely, and like I would like was like devastate. Were you incredibly excited about Civ 6?
I'm on the wrong crowd here though, because if there were different people for the link here, they'd be going, yes, they were. But
we've all played. We all played Civ 6, haven't we? Devastate Mass, you both played Civ 6.
I said and I declared I am the world's worst Civilization player, and I didn't cheat once to achieve that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, no, the 3 of us, with the exception of Vedic, don't claim to be any good at Civ at all. And frankly, I think most of us don't have a clue what we're doing in it. But we've never completed it. But I suppose we just can't get excited by it. But obviously, you are absolutely tissue box Kleenex ready for Civ 7 on the 6th of February. Yeah.
And I think we're going to be doing a deep dive. Vedic's going to be doing a deep dive with us on an episode on Civ 7 once he's had a good old.
I've and played it for a few hundred hours. Preferably in the first week.
16 days. 16 days. So that will be probably 3 podcast time. We'll get Vedic on. He'll be by himself, so he'll just be talking to himself for an hour, but it'll be fine. We'll find some other people in the in the link up who both play it.
Bullshit,
no, we'll be here. We'll be here. But it'll be mostly Vedic talking about it, and we'll get some anecdotes from the WhatsApp group as well in there.
Vedic, what is in your mind the thing you're looking for the most of the new one over Civ 6?
I think it's just the sheer amount of change. Because
before you would
just pick your civilization and your leader would be the same. And now this is obviously, taking inspiration from things like Humankind, where you're picking your leader, but you also pick your civilization per age. So Rome would only be for the Antiquity Age, and then Rome would then become another empire in the Exploration Age. So it might become the Norman Empire and the Normans, and then from the north, when the Exploration Age ends and it goes into the modern age, it would then become England, or for example Germany, or something like that. So Rome doesn't, as an empire, the Roman Empire doesn't exist now. It ended, a thousand years ago.
But that's going to make it even more challenging for people who are terrible at the game, like the 3 of us.
Well, no, because you play an age, so you can play just an age. You can play just one age, and then you can come back to it and play the second age and the third age. And each time you play, it will feel a little bit different. But yes, it could.
So in terms of an age, you basically just play up to the end of the age, and then you can't increase the capability of your army, for example. It reaches a limit essentially.
So
And
once
then
the whole game will move from one age to another, and at the end of that age, you'll have like a crisis. And I was watching Sir Ryan, who's a YouTuber that most of us watch, and he's on the second age. He had a plague ship arrived, and suddenly he had to deal with the fact that the plague had arrived at his lands, and had to obviously deal with that. And I think at the end of the third age, you could have world wars and so forth. So it's good.
if you obviously said that you can only play. There's a scenario where you can complete the game and you can play just one age. So if you
Yeah.
play that one age, it reaches a certain level and then you can't like go any further than that. So essentially, let's say you get to, I don't know, catapults or whatever, or horses, then you can't go any higher than that. So basically, you just try and make your army as big as possible and then attack whoever you want to attack.
Yeah, but you're because there isn't just victory via
Yes.
military. Obviously, there's different ways. So you'll be looking to score a certain amount of points throughout the different things. I think exploration. Sorry, not exploration. There's an economy victory, a culture victory, science victory, military victory.
Well, military
diplomacy.
victory is the only thing you need to be playing in that, because everyone knows that if you have like diplomatic victory, I mean, what's the point in playing the game? You know who you are, who people who do that in other games that we play. Military victory is all you need. Anyway, any other comments on Civ 7 before we move on?
That's all. It looks good. It's like there are loads of changes. It's a big. There's the most. I think the biggest change going from one Civ to another there's ever been. So that's a big thing.
Well, Vedek's excited. The three of the rest of us are not that excited about it, but we'll see. 3 weeks' time, we'll get Vedek on. He'd have done 1,000 hours in just over a week, and his wife would have left him. Moving on, the Federal Trade Commission has had a little bit of a shoe-in, shall we say, over Genshin Impact, and they've ordered a $20 million fine for essentially giving out too many loot boxes to kids online. Devastate, was that it?
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, Genshin Impact is an anime style sort of semi-open world battle game. But essentially, Genshin Impact, and this is the headline, deceived children and orders its publisher, which is Cognosphere, to pay $20 million fine and stop selling loot boxes to kids.
It's not going to dent its. You've seen the profits that game's made over the first year of launch, over all platforms, $3.8 billion.
Yeah, so
$3.8 billion.
Yeah,
with a B.
Yeah, with a B. Yes.
Jeez.
I'm always fascinated by that because Disney bought Star Wars for $4 billion, and you think that's such a massive that's hardly any difference in price. What the heck?
And all of that money, well, okay, not all of it, but the vast majority of the money come from loot box mechanics. It's a gotcha style game. So I'm just going to read through this article by Andy Chalk from pcgamer, and it's basically said that Cognosphere has agreed to pay the $20 million fine and will block children under the age of 16 from making in-game purchases without parental consent in a settlement with the FTC over the allegations that they violated the Children's Online Privacy Protections Act. Although they accepted the fine, they felt that the allegations were inaccurate.
I mean, 20 million in that is a drop in the ocean compared to mass.
They won't change, will they? They just keep doing
it. They need to make it 200 million.
Well,
Yeah,
so
I
think this does hurt, and I don't think it's the fine. That's a headline. I think what they're being required to do,
that's
hurts them way more. Yeah. So, under the terms of the settlement, and it has to be approved by a US judge, by a federal judge, the following change will now occur: that children under 16 will not be allowed to purchase loot boxes without parental consent. All loot boxes available for purchase with virtual currency will also be made available for direct purchasing using real money. Loot box odds and exchange rates for multi-tiered virtual currency will be accurately disclosed and not misrepresented. Any
That's big.
Yep.
That's big.
Any personal information collected from players under the age of 13 will be deleted unless permission to keep data is obtained from parents. And all COPPA, so COPPA, which was the
In-game currency.
no, the Children's Online Privacy Protections Act.
Oh, okay.
Regulations including its notice and consequent requirements will be complied with. So I think that this is a good thing, first and foremost,
massively.
And that ultimately stopping kids under the age of 16 from buying loot boxes without parental permission will dent the profits of games. And I think that this should be mandatory in all
industry-wide.
games. Yeah,
industry-wide.
I think it was in Sweden or one of the Nordic countries. They banned loot boxes from children under 16. It's a legal requirement, so they can't even have it. They can't even see them in game.
Should be
because they consider it gambling.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, and I mean, more to the point, like, what parent is letting their under 16-year-old child have a free-for-all on loot boxes?
But you don't
Or
know
buying
they're doing
You
it.
hear stories all the time, don't you?
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
child,
obviously.
when they've
But,
logged into the parent's account, they've left the card details on, and then they.
I mean, what are these parents doing? As a parent myself, like, have like some form of like monitoring going on. Like, if you've got an Xbox Live account, or you've got an Xbox Game Pass, or you've got Steam, it's very easy to block it. My kids go on my PC every single week. They play Ark, they play Minecraft. They cannot speak to anyone, friend request anyone, buy anything without a pin from me.
Yeah, and but I think it's
Completely locked down.
important to remember though that you are proficient with technology. You have grown up with technology. There are plenty of people that haven't and that are our age and are still computer illiterate. They still not naming any people that sometimes pop round to the link up and say hello. They don't even have smartphones. So I wouldn't say that it's easy to cast that aspersion when you know the way the world works online. But for people who don't, and you don't know what you don't know, you're naive to what actually happens. And so they might be going, he's just gaming. But this is a regular occurrence. I actually think the danger is not spending the money. I think the danger is in the biogame grooming children for when they're over 16.
Yeah,
that's the biggest issue I have, because they do it in gaming, then they do it in real life, and they get into gambling, and they get into this whole mechanic, and I think that is a real dangerous precedent to set to impressionable young minds. So I'm fully against loot boxes in their entirety, but especially for anyone under the age of 16, while you're primarily playing games from 12 through to that age. I think it's a terrible thing. So I think this is a step in the right direction. And I think that ultimately, I would love to see the FTC do more in the future. But I would love the EU to follow a similar act. I would love to see
it. Just ban them completely.
Because like the amount of games that we grew up on which didn't have loot boxes, and because you got 2 points here. You've got the what Devastator's talked about in terms of the gambling, the like terrible piece from that point of view. But then you've also got the pay to win aspect from a loot box perspective, which we obviously grew up not having at all. And the only way to get good at a game was spend hours and hours and hours and just be really good at it. Much like you do in any sport in real life, for example, you practice, you get better at it. Whereas now there is a massive element of, and we've discussed this on the podcast before, of pay to win, shall I say, which is also terrible. But this needs, honestly, loot box, just get rid of them completely in every single game. I know the game publishers will absolutely crucify that and they'll lose massive amounts of revenue. But surely the benefit of young people, particularly children under the age of 16, is more important than revenue at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think that it's fine. You want to sell digital items for money. I think that Beefy, you play a game that is ultimately free.
Yeah.
League of Legends. But that doesn't have loot boxes. You can go and buy custom skins.
Yeah, you can buy custom skins.
And
you can buy.
Is that about?
Oh no, actually no. I lie. You can go and buy. You can buy chests. So you can go and buy any sort of number of chests. You can buy normal chests, mastery chests, and you can but it's not a play to win. You're not going to get anything better that's going to make you better at the game in it. It's literally better skins. You might get an XP boost, something like that. But there's nothing in there that's going to infinitely make. There's not better weapons because it's a level playing field from a League of Legends perspective. But then to your point, Devastate, like I logged on to Halo Infinite. Obviously, I'm a massive Halo fan. Grew up on Halo. And I downloaded Halo Infinite, haven't played it ever, played it yesterday. The first thing I'm greeted with is like Battle Pass, and I'm like, jog on, just get me into a game and get me playing.
It's the same with most things.
Yeah.
Some games, it's very stealthy in how they do it. Others are a bit more brash and upfront. But the massive drive for revenue, and I think one thing that we probably haven't considered is when you have games that are all online based constantly. We didn't have loot boxes back in the day, but there wasn't a far number of people that were playing online as much back in the day. And running these servers costs a huge amount of money. And I would say that they need to be there needs to be a sustainable model somewhere without getting people to buy loot boxes, without getting people to get kids hooked on this stuff, and without necessarily skins on a free game. But if you can sell a game for 50 quid and that doesn't cover a year's worth of effectively development and then hosting a game, then there's a bigger problem within the industry than we think.
Yeah, because compute and storage is infinitely coming down in cost every single year.
Games are getting larger and larger in file size, and more data needed to be sent.
Yeah, like you think back in the day when Mash, you'll probably remember, what was this normal size of like hard drive that we had like back in like the mid 2000s or early 2000s? Probably.
You'd have a terabyte, wouldn't you? Still,
no,
maybe half.
Yeah, maybe 500 gig, 256.
My first computer had 32.
Well, yeah, that was in the 1800s. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, like 256 gig hard drive, 500 gig hard drive was considered massive. Whereas, like, Vedic, do you know what the file size for the new Civ 7 game is?
No, not yet.
I mean, can you imagine what the file size for the new GTA game is going to be?
I'm going to need to buy an entire hard drive for
it. Yeah. I've got 4 terabytes of hard drive, and I'm like, okay, I should be fine. But like, there shouldn't be a scenario where you need to buy 4 terabytes of hard drive to make sure that you're okay for 5 years worth of gaming.
Yeah.
But
going back to that online instance, it's not just the file size of the game; it's the sheer volume of data that is being sent, and it's going to get more as more people around the world get online. Like, these data centers cost fortunes and cost billions to set up and run, and they've got to be paid for. And if the game publisher is paying for that usage, and so they need to make the money to pay for that. How much do you reckon it costs to run the millions of League of Legends games, like, around the world? It must cost so they've got to make their money.
The data centers.
Yeah.
The size of the data centers.
But a lot of they'll be running on Azure, Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services. Most of them won't have their own data centers.
Oh yeah,
they'll be using some of the big ones, third party. But but the cost that they must be paying, it must be what their monthly bills must be, is incredible.
But like, I think from a loot box perspective, personally, just ban it for everyone under 18.
I agree.
There should
Or
be
just ban it entirely.
well, yeah, that would be a nice to have vetting, but I think the reasonable one from a protecting children perspective would be you log onto a game, you key in your age, you have to verify your age. So if you're under 18, it has to be done by a parent, and then if the parent then chooses, okay, you want to be opted in to buy loot boxes and let your kid at 13, 14 buy loot boxes with your credit card, so be it.
Yeah.
Terrible parenting. But there should be like an opt out. So you download a game, you start playing it. First thing, right? Do you want to have loot boxes in the game? No. Okay, you get the vanilla version or the non loot box version of the game.
I 100% agree.
Well, that was a fairly easy one to discuss. Fairly straightforward. Devastate. There's a new Xbox controller potentially launched.
Yeah, just a little quick story. Microsoft is releasing a new Xbox Special Edition controller on the 4th of February, and I actually think it looks bloody lovely.
What's the difference between like this one and this, and how much is it?
So it is it's red. Ooh.
Oh,
No, but so it's actually see-through. So it's so you can see into the actual controller.
that's like the original X. Do you remember the original Xbox controllers? They used to do I think it was called Crystal, and like you could see through them. The same with the console as well.
Do you remember the Nintendo 64 had it? Yeah.
Yeah, because I do, and I had it on the Nintendo. There was some handheld ones I did for the Wii. They also were see-through.
Yeah. The grips are slightly different. The triggers buttons, so your top two triggers and the D-pad are metal. I don't think you can get any better performance out of it, but it looks absolutely lovely.
Yeah, it does look very nice. $75.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, that's 2 of Tempest Rising.
Yeah.
2 Tempest Risings for a controller.
Now I've been pretty good with this controller. This has now lasted me since September. So usually I go through 3 controllers a year.
When you're losing games on EA, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that? Do you chuck them?
Yeah, bang my desk. I've got some of them, like most of the time it's you hit them and then the motor eventually does them, which stops the rumbling effect, and then sometimes I like break off like the clips. Sometimes like about various things. I've tried to to be fair, if I can fix them, I do. So I take them apart and try and fix them if I can do. But
yeah,
no, and well, it's expensive when you have to pay £50 for a new one.
Yeah.
But so it looks nice. I mean, you've got the ultimate Xbox controller. I think it's 150, 160, which is all the elements are fully replaceable. There's a lot more customization with the actual controller itself, and that's nice. But this actually looks just like pretty cool. So yeah, I'm trying to bring that to everyone's attention. And that's out on the 4th of February.
Lots of stuff happening in February. We'll have to maybe cover next week some games coming out in February. But moving on, there's been a leak on PC Gamer that I've been reading about a new potential 5090 RTX 5090 prototype GPU with a possible 800 watt rating, which is absolutely obscene. So it's rumored it could be potentially the 5090 Ti or a Titan Monster, but looking at potentially sort of a 13% bump on the cores that it's got. But I think this goes back to similar to what we were talking about last week's episode, in that I think we need to wait for those benchmarks to come out for all of the GPUs from NVIDIA to see where they actually stand, because obviously we know What Vedic? Did you have the? Was it the 1080 Titan? Was it the 1080 Titan?
I had a 1080 Ti.
1080 Ti. Who had a? Someone had a Titan. I remember someone had a Titan. The link up. Who was it?
And then it died. And then I got a 3080 Ti.
Mass, can you remember? Did it? I swear someone had a Titan.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
If
Anyway,
it's anybody, isn't it going to be? It's not Adrian.
yeah, no, not sure, but yeah, I think obviously from a price perspective, that's probably going to be best part of £2,500 quite comfortably, maybe even three if it is that powerful, should we say? But I think we do have to definitively wait for those benchmarks to come out, which will be next week probably.
Well, the
filming this
pre-orders are out for the 5090 and 5080
yeah.
Ti next week, so we will we'll keep on top of that, and I think the week after we'll have an idea. We'll sort of report on the selling numbers and the
Yes,
pre-order numbers and how much they're selling
Yeah.
for online and how much they're being scammed for.
Yeah, because I'll definitely be keeping an eye on if I can sell my my 4080 Super for 700, 800 quid still, and then go and get a 5080. I think it's a no-brainer for me.
What was
But
the price? 5080 again? Sorry.
979, just under £1,000. And I paid £1,000 for my 4080 Super like 7-8 months ago. So they're still going for like 900 quid on eBay. My graphics card used. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. If for 100 quid extra and get a 5080, I mean, it's literally bite your arm off for it.
Yeah.
One final piece for me. So, last week we spoke about Elon Musk having a bit of backwards and forwards with Asmongold. So we did that piece last week. We went through the story. So, in the last week, in fact, this episode only came out on Saturday morning. We recorded it Friday night. Recording this on Tuesday. That now it has come out that Elon Musk has indeed confirmed that he does get other people to play his accounts. So,
I've always been wondering, like, he's running so many companies and he's now head of Doge for Trump. He hasn't got time to game, and he's a dad as well. There's no scenario he's got time to game and be that good at any game. I mean, let alone some of the games that he's been talking about.
So there is a YouTuber and streamer called Nico Rex, who has a direct communication line to him, and he asked him the following question: have you level boosted, had someone else play your accounts, and or purchase gear and resources for PoE 2 and Diablo 4?
Diablo 4.
Musk responded with 100%. It is impossible to beat the players in Asia if you don't, as they do. He has always claimed that he has always been the one streaming, but he has almost appeared to have confirmed that he has level boosted. And as a follow-up, and regarding Path of Exile 2, was it your intention to take full credit for leveling your HC, which is hardcore mode character? Musk reported, no, I've never claimed that. Top accounts in Diablo or PoE require multiple people playing the account to win a leveling race.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's something that which we probably expected, and the fact that he's actually admitted it, I think is a good thing, rather than him actually like lying flat out. But yeah, I mean,
is it admitted because he's been caught?
Don't know.
The video evidence of him, people have actively looked at it. It's easier to admit when you've been caught than it is, but
preempted.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elon's got far more pressing matters with Doge. And moving on, finally, just if you didn't catch last week's episode, the 27th annual Royal Link update for 2025 has been confirmed. It's the 5th of July. We're at the same venue as we had it last year, and we are all very excited. But the big question is, Vedic, are you more excited for Civilization 7 or this year's Royal Link Cup? I don't think he can answer that question. I think he's too excited for Civilization 7.
I think I'm excited about playing Civilization 7 in the Royal Link Cup.
Good answer.
Anyway, let's wrap it up there. Yeah, so 5th of July, this year's Royal Link Cup, 27th annual Royal Link Cup. We are super excited about it.
We will be live.
Yeah, we will be live every single day. We will be streaming across TikTok, YouTube, Twitch. So make sure you're tuned in, following all of our accounts. Link in the description below. If you've got any questions about the link up, drop them in the comments below. Any comments about today's episode or any future episodes that you want, content that you want to see, anything specifically about Civ 7 or Tempest Rising, drop it in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed as well. If you're watching or listening on YouTube, we really appreciate it. And Master Nevera, what are you going to say?
Games as well that you could recommend that we play at the link up that we may not have already spotted ourselves. So
Absolutely,
so that'd be great.
Well, I think about that. That's about it for this week's episode. We really appreciate you listening as always. Until next time, I've been the Amazing Sniper Beef.
I've been Devastate, and just remember, like, share, comment down below.
And I've been Vedic.
And I've been Massinivery. Tofu all.
Catch you later, peeps. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.